Hello. Welcome to the Talkin Kop. My name's Ashley. I'm joined by my friends Matt, Chris, and Kev to talk about the back-to-back winning Reds. Game just finished up over at Anfield. Liverpool won 3-0, although it probably should have been 4 if VAR was there. Matt, I'm going to come to you for your initial match reactions, just straight off the bat. How are you feeling?
Yay! That's how I'm feeling. Yeah, it was nice. It was a nice little day of FA Cup football. I'll throw it to Kev with that's the magic of the cup, Kev. It's the magic of the cup.
The most cliche nonsense there ever is.
Work today, though, didn't it?
Well, no, look, in fairness, I was in work all day, and the first result that I got headlines about was Mansfield. So, yeah, the rest of it is kind of like gone with the way it should have gone, isn't it? I don't think there's been any magic of the cup or anything, really. It's just, I'm glad we got a win. We got a comfortable night. Players got rest who needed rest. Players who got minutes needed minutes. Looked like a good atmosphere. Some great goals. Take the win into the fifth round, and we all want Mansfield in the next round at home. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, we shall see. I mean, the nice thing, Chris, is that we are in the hat. Just again, Matt, first reactions off the bat. We get a good, comfortable win at Anfield. It's been a little while. How are you feeling?
Is that me or Matt?
It's for you, Chris.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
You did say Matt halfway through the conversation. I went, oh, okay, I'll shut up then.
Oh, no, that was a Freudian slip. That's right. For you, Chris.
Yeah, no, look, it's just nice to have a comfortable Anfield win. I actually can't remember last time we won a game 3-0 at Anfield. It does feel like a while, like domestically. It does feel like it's a while. But yeah, look, that was the most routine I've seen us beat them for a while. Even the 2-0 win at Anfield earlier in the season wasn't that routine. And look, there were some good performances, some nice goals. Back-to-back clean sheets. I think the only thing that would have made it perfect for me and Ashley would have been back-to-back goals from a corner. But, you know, them's the dreams, Ash? But yeah,
can't have everything.
In the cup, fingers crossed we get another home draw and hopefully it's a lower league side.
That would be nice. I mean, the one thing that I'd like to say kind of off the bat before we get into the lineups is how loud Anfield sounded. They really, I don't know if the comms were just, boosting it up or if it really was that loud. I know that there were a lot of our viewers going a lot of times for the first time with their kids. So I really hope that anyone's that's listening back to this show after going with their kids for the very first time, just really enjoyed themselves. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Circling back around, Matt, I'm going to come to you. Any surprises in the lineup? I mean, I think some of us were maybe surprised about how strong it was.
Yeah, I mean, it would be the strength of the lineup, I think, was always going to be somewhat at this level, just simply because of how little faith in the youth players Arne Slot seems to have. Our famous League Cup run we went on with Virgil van Dijk and a bunch of children, like some sort of Disney movie from a couple of years ago. That's not the ethos that this management team has with this squad at this time. So it was always going to be weird if you saw Calvin Ramsey get a start and Kieran Morrison and, they bring up Pennington from the youth team or something like that, like Keylor Figueroa was never going to start up front. So there's only so many changes to make. I was pleasantly surprised that he actually did make some of those changes because it seems the last couple of weeks the team has been screaming out for Curtis Jones to get a start, for Federico Chiesa to just get a start and just try something a little bit differently. And he actually did make a sufficient number of changes today. And then the in-game changes, I thought the scoreline helped out a lot in terms of just managing player load and getting off some players that you want to see get off the pitch. Ryan Gravenberch getting the whole 90 off today, excellent. Absolutely excellent. I couldn't be happier with that. So yeah, I was really just surprised that actually Curtis Jones played and that he made the right decision, especially with Jones and putting Jones in at right back and pushing Szoboszlai back into the midfield, because the worry was that he was going to keep Szoboszlai running as that right back again. So yeah, that was a pleasant surprise.
It was pleasant. Kev, I'm going to take it to you because in the run-up to this game, you were more grumpy about our lineup than that Seagull fan wearing the Seagull mask. So walk us through what your feelings were with the lineup.
I understood the changes he made. I understood the lineup he made. For the life of me, and Oisin pointed out here, Mama must be thinking, what am I doing for the rest of the season? Training fodder. Rough. I don't know what Mamadashvili's done to upset him, but how he didn't start today is beyond me. Absolutely wild. Knowing Allison and his injury record, the fact that we might end up having to use Mamadashvili between now and the end of the season with 0 minutes in his legs in ages scares the shit out of me. And if you paid 35 million quid and he isn't good enough for your domestic cups, flog him on. Just get him sold and just buy some English second-rate goalkeeper and stick him on the bench and leave him there, because that's just a piss poor waste of money. There's no other way to describe it. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever that Mamadashvili shouldn't be starting the fourth round game of the FA Cup. None. There's no justification for it unless he's injured. And if he's injured, he shouldn't be on the bench. So
no, I don't think he's injured.
That blew my mind. The rest of the lineup, understood it. Absolutely fine. Chiesa starting up front. Ekitike obviously needed a break. Surprised McAllister started. In truth, that's why I was really kind of thinking that Joe Gomez would come in and play at right back, so Curtis Jones would play in midfield, because of how McAllister has been over the last few games, really, especially when it gets to like the last 20, 30 minutes. I think he's been flagging. So yeah, I was surprised that he started, but look, had a decent game, did okay. No great shakes, no real disasters. But yeah, that really, really surprised me with that lineup. I was genuinely shocked.
It was definitely surprising. I mean, Haven was in the chat saying 5 minutes in after a 3-0 win, and we're at the manager already. That we're just reacting to the lineup.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. This is about the lineup, all right? Whoever said that in the chat, this is about the lineup and my reaction to the lineup, all right? And if you think that Alisson Becker should be starting in the fourth round of the FA Cup and your £35 million goalkeeper should be sat on the bench collecting splinters, that's fine. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. But this isn't a go or slagging the manager. This is a straight reaction to a £35 million goalkeeper sat on the bench for absolutely no reason. None. There's no justification for it in my mind. If you think that's having a go on Arne Slot, good luck.
So, Chris, very quickly on this similar topic, the only thing I can think of is I think Mamadashvili's last game for us, and correct me if I'm wrong, was that absolute steamrolling against PSV. And I have no idea whether or not Slot has it in his head that, he's just basically trying to get through this round because the FA Cup does really mean something to him. Is that maybe a possibility why he would have gone with Ali?
Yeah, I mean, I would have started Mamadashvili, but Alisson starting isn't. I know where Kev's coming from, but it isn't totally wild, because even under Klopp, Alisson started more FA Cup rounds before the quarterfinals than you realise, to be fair, because I do remember a few times we were like, why is he not playing Kelleher? Why is he playing Alisson in the FA Cup? The FA Cup seems to be one that Liverpool seem to flip between reserve keeper and main keeper, whereas the League Cup is purely the reserve keeper's job. It is what it is. I was surprised, but it's one of them, isn't it? I can't get too hung up over it. Again, what we don't know is we'll never be privy to that. Is what's Mamadashvili been told? He may already know this, which is this is what you were brought in for. This is when you get your game. This is the plan for you for next season. This is the plan for you the season after. And ultimately, he signed up for it. So I doubt there's anything that surprised him here. So, but yeah, I must admit, that was the only surprise I had. I did think it'd be Rio or Chiesa who started. He went with Chiesa, which makes sense because he's more central if you're going to rest Hugo. Because otherwise, then you're putting Gakpo through the middle, and Gakpo's not natural through the middle, whereas Chiesa is more natural. And then, the debate then was Jones at right back or Szoboszlai. He made the right decision with Jones, but I quite like the lineup because the back four was 3 of your regulars plus a makeshift right back, fairly solid midfield. So of that lineup, 8, 9 of them would easily start against Forest, and no one's going to bat an eyelid. So I think also it's the opposition. Do you know what? If the next round we get through and say we get Macclesfield, Wrexham, I don't think we'll go as strong. I just don't think we will. So but yeah, that was the only surprise. I'm with Kev. The only surprise was Alisson starting, but maybe he just wants to keep Alisson rhythm. Maybe it's a medical thing. Who knows? I mean, the manager's not going to tell us.
No, he's not going to tell us. And if it was medical, he also would just keep that card close to his chest as he has the right to do. Matt, I'm going to breeze pretty quickly through the first half hour or so of the game because there's not a ton that happens, but there is one very good Curtis Jones shot that goes just wide right around 28 minutes. Shades of that Everton goal that he got kind of right on debut. Very, very close. And it was only a few minutes after that where at 34 minutes we have Kirk has fouled. There's an advantage played. And then Gakpo gets a free kick on the edge of the box. Szoboszlai is right at the top corner of the box. And there is a great free kick there. Glance from Gakpo. Ball goes in the back of the net. And we get our first offside of the night. So walk me through that moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's this testing ground of the argument for and against having VAR involved in games. I think today was a very good case study in the positives and the negatives of having that. I mean,
definitely both columns ticked.
Yeah. On first glance, you're looking at it and it looks off, but it's with the way they wanted to speed up this production, it felt like almost to show off the fact that they didn't have the VAR. I didn't get more than, I think, maybe one replay, really, of any of the incidents today across all of the FA Cup games that had a little bit of spice to them. So it's okay to take a little bit of time to come to the right decision on these things. So it's a bit disappointing, but it's just like, I don't know, it's reaffirmed my belief in VAR as a principle. Like we have the technology, we just need to use it.
Yeah. I mean, and we will get to some of the other dubious VAR calls throughout the show and also our post-match rant show, which will be over on Patreon. Davey's in the chat. I just want to commend Davey for enduring the refereeing performance that was the Villa versus Newcastle game, because that was the worst refereeing performance. To call it a performance is probably going too far.
I feel we should have Davey on for a special just to talk about that game.
Yeah, if Davey wanted to, that would be very entertaining. But my goodness, that was atrocious. And, you know, it's interesting because it was one of UEFA's kind of chief referees came out and spoke about VAR becoming too microscopic. And he spoke to kind of the refereeing body as a whole about, you know, really trying to move swiftly through these decisions. And I do wonder if we're going to maybe get a little bit of, I don't know, like, I don't know what the term is, but just it feels like they have egg on their face at this point in time, trying to ask for improvements and trying to go faster, Kev. Because honestly, you know, as Matt pointed out there, it just was a day that ran the gamut in terms of good and bad decisions.
Honestly, I had to endure that game listening to McCoist and his buddy.
It's Biff.
Delighted about the fact that they didn't have VAR, right? You swear to God they never watched the Villa Newcastle game, which is a walking advert for why VAR should be used at every ground that it's available for, irrespective of the round of the competition that it's in.
You called that early.
I said that during the third round of the FA Cup, and people were off their fucking minds thinking I was a lunatic, saying that it was going to cause an unfair advantage. How? But I'm not going back over that.
Kev,
look,
Kev, one thing about them two Biffs, they let it slip exactly what TV wants when they said, yeah, I know the Newcastle game was a bit, you know, controversial, said, but this has been the most enjoyable week of football that we've had in ages. Thinking that's actually what TV companies probably don't want VAR, because they haven't got the whole match of the day thing, Kev, like you used to have, which is like, oh, we might be just off there, or you've seen them given. Whereas now it's a bit more forensic. You go like, no, that's just a fucking.
Look, Cody Gakpo was offside.
Miles off.
My only issue with the Cody Gakpo goal was how long it took for the flag to go up.
Yeah, he really thought about it.
He was spinning, he's off, he's celebrating. And I'd say a good 10 seconds pass and the flag goes up. Because he looks across the line first and then there's no flag, and then he goes to celebrate. And then it's hauled back. It's like, but look, it's the right decision. On Patreon, after this, we're going to talk about the other. the other game. And we are going to go to town on the other game.
Yeah.
But for this one, I just, for the life of me, do not understand a Premier League ground being used live on TV, 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. You have, as Matt says, you have the technology. You have all of the equipment there. Unless you've just seen, you know what, all the VAR lads are off on holidays for the weekend because it's Valentine's Day and all of us sad
Maybe a
sacks.
sneaky
all of
trip
the other
over to Saudi Arabia or something.
All of the sad sacks in the chat are all sat at home really angry. And like, you know, it's just annoying because I thought the first half up until then, the Curtis Jones shot that went out for a corner that wasn't given. You know, I mean, the free kick, the goal, it was offside, took ages. I enjoyed that first 30, 35 minutes because it was so quick. The actual game was quick. There wasn't much goal mouth action, but it was quick.
One shot on target, both teams combined.
Yeah, but I just enjoyed the football. It was just really quick. It all felt like one mistake. One player makes a mistake and either side is in. You know, it's two footballing sides wanting to play football. And I loved everything about it. But for me, it was like, once he got that goal, that free kick was a beautiful free kick. It was a good header. It was a half a body width offside. But it showed you that there's goals in this game for us. It was just a case of getting the final ball right, get the delivery right. And, you know, we were going to get a lot of chances. I felt it was only a matter of time before something went for us. And, you know,
it wasn't very long until it
wasn't
did.
very long. It wasn't very long at all.
I think they also worked out, I know not to dig him out, but I think they also worked out the weak point might have been playing on the young lad because he had a torrid time chasing Kirkes. I think Kirkes used his experience and played on that young lad's inexperience. I think that's what ultimately cost him a little bit for the first goal. But again, that's something we've accused Liverpool of not doing in the past, is being a bit ruthless and, you know, as Grain Souness would say, spot the dope, you know, spot the weakness and just hammer that weakness till it breaks. And to be fair, Liverpool spotted it. It probably took about half an hour to get there, but we did.
Yeah, Matt, coming over to you for right around 40 minutes, we had a Chiesa shot blocked by Van Hecke. And then it basically went Gakpo to McAllister. Then that went to Kirkes, who put in a beautiful cross, and Curtis Jones in the box, acting sort of like a typical number 9 poacher. Absolutely, like, slamming that goal. I think the ball actually went down into the ground and then kind of ricocheted up or something along those lines, because he was definitely nervous that the ball was about to go over the bar, and, you know, maybe in our bad luck era it would have gone over the bar. But a beautiful finish from Curtis Jones, Matt.
Yeah, he one of those ones where he almost catches it too good, you know, where you're worried that he's going to do too much on it, because that ball from Milos Kerkez, it did not need a lot of convincing to go into that net. It just needed a slight touch. I immediately said to the three of you after it went in, was that a shinner? And then you see the one replay from behind him, and you can see that he just side puts that ball into the net. It's gorgeous. But the credit on that needs to go to Milos Kerkez. If you see, the ball just kind of breaks. I think it's Gakpo's trying to dribble infield, shocker, and the ball breaks down the left wing side, and Kerkez is first on it. He breaks on that ball quickly, and he whips in one of those crosses that it's delightful. And I mean, fullback to fullback, this is the Liverpool that we've been so delighted to be treated to over the last 9-10 years, of having these incredibly attacking fullbacks. It was what we were hoping to see from Milos Kerkez, and he's so far kind of failed to deliver on that. And I just think he's really starting to find his feet in this team. Like, the amount of being shouted at by Virgil van Dijk that you see in the game is maybe half of what it used to be. At the start of the season, he was constantly being told where he needed to be. He seems like he knows that now. And instead of constantly being looking over his shoulder and double checking his positioning, now he's looking to bite in early and to get forward and to be attacking. And it was like 10 or 11 minutes into the game, they were passing the ball around on Kerkez's side, and he just took a chance and just like a lightning bolt, he was in and he got the ball. You know, he nicked in front of the pass, and we were off on a little mini break right there. So that's really good to see, because we need to get some sort of threat and pace off of the wings if we're not getting it from our forwards. it would be nice to see it from our fullbacks. And I mean, come on, Curtis Jones coming in from the cold, playing fullback and scoring. It's great. It's perfect. You couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It's interesting. Real Talk is in the chat. He says Jones' celebration was interesting. He's carrying a different energy, the face of a man with something to prove. I think that's probably true. He has been left out of a lot of games, sometimes without logical reason. But Kev, we saw I don't actually want to even blame Curtis Jones for the second moment right at the end of the game, or right at the end of the half, excuse me. But there was a moment where we almost had that kind of Jekyll and Hyde Szoboszlai moment where Jones loses his footing right in front of the goal in the very last minute of the first half. And we very, very nearly go down there, or not go down, but they never very nearly equalize. So it's Gomez that seizes on that opportunity. Virgil van Dijk, to be fair, closes down the angle really well, and Alisson spreads himself as Alisson does. But that for me was just one of those moments that shows how things can change quite quickly, and maybe a month ago that would have gone against Liverpool.
Yeah, look, it's the one thing you notice between the difference between a fullback and a midfielder, and in that position, is they don't turn like that, because that can happen. They try to keep their body shape. Their body shape, a fullback's body shape, is going to be different in that position, where the first thought is going to be, I'm going to show him on the outside, not going to let him turn. Where he was just completely lost in positionally. He didn't know where he was on the pitch, and that's why he ended up slipping. And it can happen. It's just one of the gambles that you take when you play midfielder at fullback, is that on the counters, positionally they can be unaware, spatially unaware. But Virgil sensed the danger and put the afterburners on and closed the angle down really well. It was a really poor finish. If he tries to toe poke that could go anywhere. He tries to do it with the outside of his foot, and it was just a poor finish. Alisson perfectly positioned, made it really easy for him. But yeah, it was probably, and in fairness, Hinchelwood had a header just before that from a corner that he really should have scored from. So other than that, that was like your warning shot. Is like, yeah, you're 1-0 up. They're still well in this, and we know they had the strength to come off the bench to affect the game as well. So it's like, don't take it too lightly. I thought we played well in the first half. Without being overly threatening in any way. I thought our press was excellent. We recognized early on, the first time we pressed was with 4. And after that, the 2 fullbacks joined into the press, and we went with 6. And you're literally going man for man across the pitch behind it. So it was really aggressive, knowing that, fine, if Brighton want to go long, if you force the keeper into clearing it long, you back your 2 centre-backs to mop it up, and you build on your attack again. So I was really, really happy with how we pressed, and gambled on the fact that Brighton really want to play out from the back. So we forced them to play that. They got through a few times, but in general, when they got through, we slowed them down enough for Jones and Kirkus to get back into their fullback positions in the main. The one time that they did get through was ultimately what led to their chance, and it was a half chance. It was made a half chance by Virgil's pace. But yeah, that's probably the only thing that you look at as Curtis Jones being a midfielder playing fullback is one thing that he's going to have an issue with. And I honestly think Dominic Szoboszlai has the same kind of issue. It's just something that you grow up as a defender. You come right the way through the ranks as a defender. You've experienced it. When you're a midfielder and you're asked to do a job there, you're learning on the fly, and sometimes it can bite you in the arse. It didn't today, but it can do on other occasions.
Yeah, I don't mind him learning on the fly in an FA Cup game. I'd rather, especially if it's something that's, I prefer Jones at right back and Szoboszlai playing further forward, because I think that we do lose a certain je ne sais quoi when Szoboszlai's not in the midfield. Sorry, it was the only thing that came out to the top of my head. But no, like I do feel like we miss him. We miss his forward momentum in midfield, and I think he's our best presser. So I don't think there's a coincidence that we look the best as a pressing team when Szoboszlai is in the midfield. I think it's something that we've missed a lot. Chris, halftime comes along. They throw up the stats on my screen, and I was actually shocked to see that we were less than 50% possession, actually. We were down around 47% possession, and Brighton was up around 53. It didn't read that way to me, just on the eye test, but going into the second half, I thought Brighton actually started kind of zippy in that second half. There was one moment in particular right around 48 minutes where Allison was closed down very quickly by Gomez, and he got away with one, in my opinion. I think that, Ali has a brain fart in him, and that was his brain fart.
He had two in that game.
Yeah.
He said, "I'll throw two in. This is well too easy, 1-0. Watch this, lads." Yeah, I know what you mean about the possession. I think, to be honest, Brighton had an awful lot of the ball probably in the first 10, 12 minutes. I don't think we really got much of a touch in the first 10, 12 minutes. That's probably what weights it, and I think Liverpool grew into the game. So, yeah, that's kind of been an ongoing challenge this season, is we don't seem to start halves very well, especially after half-time. It always seems to take us 5-10 minutes to get going. But yeah, so I think Ali's brain fart probably woke everyone up a little bit. It won't take much for this to go to 1-1, wakey. And listen, Liverpool did that, and I think after about 5-10 minutes, Liverpool got back into their groove, and I'll be honest, up until we got into 3-0, Brighton had very little threat. At first at Ali, I think I can only think of one big save he makes, which I think is from a free kick, and I can't remember if that's at 2-0 or 1-0, which is the dunk header.
There's one moment right around 53 minutes, and I'll stick with you, Chris, where it was actually out. I don't know if it was I don't know if it was a save, but he pushes across away from Van Hecke on a diving header, and it was very much almost a goal-saving action. I think that might be what you were thinking of, where he kind of palms it away from Van Hecke.
Because I think the touch basically takes it away from 2 or 3 Brighton players where it's happening. That's also the free kick where Milos Kerkez, he's pulled to the ground by a guy already on a booking and has a free kick given against him, and gets told by the referee to calm down for being upset that he's been pulled down. I'm like, honestly, but standard of the officials here. Do you know what I mean? But after that, I think Liverpool just took control, and I have to say that's probably the most comfortable win we've had over Brighton at home in quite some time.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it always feels like there's a little bit of Brighton games never really feel like they're over until they're over, like until you really get to the 95th minute. So to have it get comfortable to the point where we could make subs, that was unique in a Brighton game. Matt, on the quest to make it comfortable, we came to 55 minutes, which was really, it was a beautiful bit of quick thinking from Salah. So there was a 1-2 with Szoboszlai. It all started from Cody Gakpo, I believe. And Mo Salah took the ball, put a perfect touch into the running path of Szoboszlai, and just an absolute thunderbolt into the back of the net. And Szoboszlai just doing Szoboszlai things. Walk us through that goal and your reaction to it.
Well, I'll give Kev this one because after all the times complaining about Dominic Szoboszlai having to play it right back this season, Dominic Szoboszlai scoring from midfield feels good. But just on that, Popeye Coaching in the chat was wondering if we were going to talk about Mo Salah and the way he played today. And I've stopped taking notes during games, but I did take this one. I wrote down that it looks like Mo Salah is having fun playing with Florian Wirtz in this team. And I think it's the first time this season where that connection has looked like the two of them were like, hey, we're really good. So let's just play the ball back and forth together. And that work in the first half of Wirtz linking up a lot more with Salah than I can remember him doing so far this season. Like, it seemed like coming into this game that it was either like Florian Wirtz is going to do something for us and possibly be successful, or Mo Salah is going to try to do something for us like he's done so many times in the past, and it's not going to be successful. And today they seemed like they were willing to pair up, and it looked like it gave Mo Salah, just this massive, massive confidence boost. And I think, like Kev, I think that has a lot to do with him having the confidence to make that first time touch, a crossfield ball, pull it down out of the sky, and just lay it into the Packers' promised line.
Look, the best thing about that, well, go back a couple of stages in that goal. Kirkes makes a fantastic run, takes the guy away from Cody Gakpo. Gakpo comes inside. Inch perfect pass to Mo. Mo doesn't break his stride once. Salah cushions the ball onto Szoboszlai, who doesn't break his stride, and just whacks it. That's a perfect counter-attacking goal. It's actually perfect because everyone does exactly what they're supposed to do, and they pass the ball exactly how they want to. And it was inch perfect. You know, that's as good as it gets for this side. Salah was brilliant today. He was helped by the fact that he knew he had the beating of his fullback. The first time Salah got on the ball today, he went inside him, or he went on the outside of his fullback. It was game over after that because he didn't know what Salah was going to do. Salah went in on the outside of him a few times, mainly because he's a right-footed left back. And when Salah goes outside him for the first time, he dusts it because he doesn't expect it. And you'd be screaming at Salah to do this more often because he's got that ability. And if whoever is playing in the 9 knows that Mo is going to go, the first time he stands his full back up, he's going to go outside him. You can run near post. You can time your run near post because you know he's going to do it. But when the majority of the times Mo checks back onto his left foot and tries to create something, it's impossible for the 9 to make their runs. And it slows everything up. But just by doing that one thing early in the game, flummoxes the fullback. And then later on in the half, he just dusts him for pace. You know, he dusts him for pace. And it's like either he's really slow, and I don't think he's that slow, or Salah's just had a couple of cans of Red Bull before the game.
The page out of Jamie Vardy's book.
Yeah, a couple of tokes on the asthma inhaler, and just went straight into him because I thought that was his best performance since coming back from AFCON. All in all, for the entirety of that game, he looked like he was playing with a smile on his face and his chest out. And that's the Mo Salah we need between now and May.
Absolutely.
We get that Mo Salah between now and May. It frees up so much space for everyone else because you cannot ignore that Mo Salah. If you're an opposing manager, you have to mark him. You can't just leave him one-on-one because he'll take you apart. And today it was delighted for him because it just worked. What he was trying to do was work in the majority of the times. Not everything, but what he was trying to do mostly worked. But that touch to Szoboszlai was just like you were praying for it because it was an inch perfect pass from Cody. And he made a few of them today. I thought he did well today. But that ball, that crossfield switch, you were just praying for that cushion to go right. And space just opened up for Dominic and he just slaps it. Keeper actually got an arm to it. And it was like, if he'd have got his hand to that, he'd have broke his wrist.
Yeah, I was going to say, fingers would be gone.
He literally just hit that ball like he hated it. You know, he absolutely hit that ball with pure venom and hate. And it was just going in. And it was a great, great goal. It was one of the best goals I've seen us score this season.
Yeah, and I mean he's very quietly gone on a run of goals for us. You know, he's becoming a very, very important goal scorer. You know, it's interesting, Kev, you're talking about Mo Salah there, and the last time that Mo Salah and Brighton were sort of in the same sentence was the week that Mo Salah kind of blew up in the media for all the wrong reasons. And I don't think that you could have two more polar opposite kind of situations with Mo Salah. The way that he felt truly integrated in the squad this time, and he felt like he was playing for the team. Chris, I just think that it was a nice thing to see, and it's something that the last time we faced Brighton, some of us were wondering if we'd ever see again. So I want to stick on the Mo Salah positivity train, and I want to talk about the goal on the 66th minute because Mo Salah, like you guys said, had the fullback on toast, but even though that was a fullback on toast, that was still Mo Salah kind of rolling back the years doing Mo Salah things. Talk us through that goal, Chris.
Yeah, and he stands him up. I was amazed because Stuart Atwell's shit that he didn't give a free kick to them, and but he actually let him play on when he powered past his fullback. And it's a Stonewall penalty. It's the easiest penalty you'll see. Unusual. Mo Salah gets a penalty because he doesn't normally. Hello Man City. But when he took his pen, he hasn't took a pen like that in ages. That's like the Mo Salah taking pens when he's on about 25 for the season. Look, I think with Mo, we've all accepted he's slowed down probably a bit more than we expected. But I think what you saw today was maybe that's how good a player Mo still is. And you think it's rare to say Mo, but when he's confident, he looked confident. He looked happy. I think generally when players are confident and happy, they always look a yard. They always tend to be a yard quicker, sharper, take more risks, and they come off because you're confident to do it. I think most has possibly had to learn he's human and had to adapt his game. I wonder if that took a real confidence knock to him, as well as all of the things that have happened this season. And just losing his grandfather. Was his grandfather he's just lost?
His grandfather, yeah.
His grandfather as well. So there's a lot going on there. So possibly there is that release, and maybe he's just found a bit of a zen, a bit of a happy place. And I think when Mo Salah's happy, it's fine. Because interestingly, in that game that we thought might have been his last, he got outpaced by Lewis Dunk, and we all went, "Fuck me, this is a problem." Today, he faced up Lewis Dunk quite a few times. He absolutely rinsed Lewis Dunk. So again, that goes back to maybe the pace isn't gone as far as we think. It has. No, it's nowhere near what it was last season. But I think you see with confidence, I think that's what it is. Maybe he's less in his own head and it's becoming a bit more natural. And he's adapted his game. So look, it was all. I mean, listen, he was unlucky not to get a second goal. I mean, unfortunately for him, the covering defender for his other chance was Matoma, who's even when Mo Salah was at his peak, Matoma would have kept up with him. Matoma's a rapid boy, like. But look, please for Mo, no keeper saving that penalty. But I think he's now on. Is it 4? I think it's 5 assists and a goal since coming back from AFCON. So while it's not the Mo Salah numbers we all know and love, and look, Mo's put himself on a ridiculous standard, it's still not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. I mean, I do want to talk through the other goal that should have stood, Matt, which was the Rio Ngamoa goal. So it's 80 minutes. There's another Gakpo pass, which builds this up. And this sort of is the other side of the coin to the no VAR and all of that, because upon review, look, Rio puts the ball in the back of the net. That should be Rio's first goal at Anfield because he is well onside.
Yeah. This is what the people that get upset about when a VAR decision takes a little while and you don't get to have that reaction that you got today, that you get in a game that doesn't have VAR, I mean, I guess with the exception of Gakpo's being flagged offside to begin with, that took that took a long time and there was no VAR. It was just a strangely long decision that the lines person made there, lifting their flag on it. But like, is that the trade-off that you want? Because that's a goal. Like, the trade-off that you get for that spontaneous reaction is Aston Villa going 1-0 ahead today when Tabby Abraham is a full yard offside and it gets missed.
Yeah.
And Rio Ngamoa missing out on the opportunity to get to actually, he got it for like a split second, and that probably even makes it worse, that he thought he had this goal and then it got robbed from him, and that should have been given back to him. That adulation should have been given back. That moment should have been given back to him, but it's not. And, it's unfortunate, and you want to have the same reaction to these things when it costs you the game as when you're already 3-0 ahead. So, I mean, that's brutal. It's just poor. And I think this is something that Kev and I were both saying after the Gakpo decision had that super long delay in it, was it seems like there was a word said in between the two games, in between the Villa Newcastle game, to the referees in this game of like, you got to do something different, because I think that the referee the lines person got a little call in their ear for that Gakpo decision, because there was such a delay in between that it was like, hey, mate, you got to throw that flag up right now. He's offside. And so, yeah, you know what? Just just make VAR better. Red Steve had an incredible comment about it earlier that we're focusing too much on the V when the problem is the AR. So the video part isn't the issue. It's the assistant referee part that's the problem. You can't tell me that there's some PGMOL version of those Doge kids that Musk brought in, like a bunch of gunslinging 19-year-olds that know how to use this technology and use it quickly. Like, this can be done quickly. It can be done more correctly, and it needs to be. And then, to allay the other concern about some stadiums having it and others not, maybe take some of the profit that you make from hosting the FA Cup tournament and ensure that every stadium after the third round, unless it's some pub team, has these facilities. Maybe the FA should be helping these teams get their stadiums up to scratch, so that you bring everybody up to the level that the Premier League is trying to set and the Championship is trying to set, as opposed to slumping down to the level of the absolute lowest common denominator. So it's a bummer. Too bad for real.
Yeah, I wanted to give him his flowers because I do think that he deserves them. I agree with that comment about the V and the A and the R. It's really not the video that's the problem. As much as AI scares the crap out of me, I don't think we're far away from at least just having offsides and, factual, ball over line versus, ball not over line sort of technology just being available to everyone, where you don't even need referees to interfere there, where it's all done virtually. But again, that's something that we'll cross. That's a bridge we will cross, and we will talk about this in more detail. Like I said, in our post match chat, but we want to keep as much as possible here on our free YouTube channel. So Kev, I'm going to come to you because there's really not that much that happens for the rest of the goal, or the rest of the game. Excuse me. There's, a little flurry of activity toward the end, but I want to talk about man of the match, could do better, and honorable mention, because I think there's quite a lot of players that played well today.
Yeah, you can throw man of the match around to a few. Look, for me, I think Milos Kerkez was excellent. I'd give it to him. I honestly think he was instrumental in a lot of the good things that we did for the majority of that game, and a lot of the stuff was selfless. I thought his defending was really good, really on point. He was aggressive, front-footed. Even when Mensah came on, no problem. He just dealt with him in the main, made his life really difficult. Had a couple of shots he got off, but in general kept him quiet. The cross for the Jones goal was just pure aggression. It was just pure will to
kind of peak Andy Robertson.
Yeah, win the ball back and get a good cross in. And he did it a few times where he got to the byline and got good balls into the box. But yeah, I thought that was one of his better games for us. Honorable mention, Curtis Jones. Look, playing it right back, bar his one mistake at the end of the first half, I thought he was excellent. I thought his positioning, his starting position for his goal, right out on the right hand touchline, and as the play was evolving and developing, he was pushing inside to get there for the press, and then he just carried on his run, and it was just a sublime finish. We saw Bruno Fernandes score a similar one, might have been last weekend, where he shinned it in, and he meant to do it, but he said in his post-match interview he went with his shin to make sure the ball stayed down. Curtis took the pace off the ball with his instep to make sure that it went in. It was an excellent finish. Thoroughly deserved goal. I thought overall he had a really good game. Could do better. No, it's a hard one because there's reasons for players who didn't quite do as well. I mean, Chiesa's the standout one, but it's hard to have a go at someone who's starting so infrequently.
It's only his fifth start overall this year.
But I don't know how many starts he's had through the middle. And it's the one thing that you notice with almost anyone who plays through the middle for us all season. Unless you're involved in a goal action, you can be very easily ignored by forwards looking for you. It's almost like you got to find something to make it for yourself, because the pass that run in behind or that one touch incisive pass isn't going to come for you. It's just not the way we tended to be building up attacks. So it's harsh on him, but he's probably the one standout that really could have done better. Everyone else. I thought everyone had a really good game, and I'm sure Chris and Matt, yourself, can come up with man of the match and honorable mentions and make strong cases for them.
Yeah, Chris, I'll come to you next. Before I do, I want to shout out. Actually, I want to berate Stevie Nicol live, because he came out on my comms and said this was Kirkes's first good game in a Liverpool shirt, and I just thought that was ridiculous. So Kev, I'm with you in terms of man of the match there. Chris, do you agree or disagree?
Well, I haven't put him as my man of the match, but I do disagree with Steve Nicol. But let's be honest, who doesn't disagree with Steve Nicol? Great player, absolute shite pundit. And unfortunately, there's a lot of ex-Liverpool greats who are great players with fucking awful pundits. And Steve Nicol, I just don't think he likes football. I think the only person who hates football more than Steve Nicol, and Kev will attest to that, is Ronnie Whelan. I think Ronnie Whelan hates football even more than Steve Nicol, which is quite impressive, because Steve Nicol does a good job. I give Jones my man of the match. First start in 6. Yeah, first start in 6 games. Playing out of position. I thought he kept the winger quiet. Key goal was always the thing for us, the opening goal, and we don't get many in the first halves, and I think that settled things down. Yeah, he's unlucky with the chance right at the end. I mean, he just. I also think he just slips. I know he's about body position, but he also just fell over. It was one of those things that you need that bit of luck. And then when we moved into centre mid for the last 15 minutes, nearly set up Wirtz for another goal. Him and Wirtz have a lovely link-up play. So I think for someone who's coming from the cold, I think he did really well. I think he shows some leadership quality on and off the pitch. And whether him and Slot have had a disagreement, whether it's just to give him a bit of a break, I don't know what it is, but I think he's reacted the right way to being taken out the side, which is right, when you put me back in, though, I'll show you what I can do. And he did. So, honourable mention, I'd probably say Sober's I think you saw what you missed from him in centre mid. The pressing, I think he gave really good cover to McAllister, who had a good game. And it's a fabulous goal. I mean, the goal alone's worth a mention. And with Kev, though, could do better. It is Chiesa. I think I messaged you on 60, and I genuinely forgot he was playing.
Yeah, I did too. I lost track of him.
I know what you say. It is harsh because he doesn't start many games, and Steve Nicol makes Grumpy Kev look happy and good look Spirit. Let's not overboard.
I think he has a shout there. Trust me, you guys.
You didn't read Kev pre-match with that lineup. Honestly, the world erupted. Trust me. But yeah, so it is harsh in Chiesa because he only starts 5 games, but then it's kind of catch-22. Is it like that because he's only started 5 games, or is that the reason why he only starts 5 games? Truth may be somewhere in the middle. My frustration with Chiesa in general, with how he's been used this season, it's not that he isn't starting many games, is I just think he should be given more than 5 minutes at the end. I think if you throw him on for the last 20 minutes against tired legs, I think that's where you get the best out of him. Hugo Ekitike wasn't spectacular when he came on, but he's just more involved. I mean, he's got more mobility and he's quicker. So it is probably Chiesa, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, Matt. As we're kind of winding down here, same question for you. Man of the match, could do better. Honorable mention as well in there.
Man of the match to me, it has to be Milos Kerkez. I thought he was excellent. The only other thing I noted down at 72 minutes, they had the ball and were kind of driving forward, and we were slightly out of position, and the ball had kind of come in from the left-hand side, and Kerkez was rather caught inside a little bit, and him and Virgil were both turning back at slightly different angles to get out to the right winger for Brighton, and he calls Virgil off and tells him, "You stay there, I got him." and he goes out and he closes it down again. And it's just those little things like that. Like I was mentioning earlier, that he's not needing to be babysat through the game nearly as much anymore. I thought that was so positive, that he also has the confidence in himself to tell his captain, no, you stay, I'll go, and basically, and making the big decision there. So yeah, I think it's just excellent. And it's good to see him starting to contribute a little bit on the offensive end. Had his shot gone in, it would have been, it would have joined a very illustrious list of Liverpool left backs with incredible goals. You think Moreno?
It was a beautiful shot.
They usually score one a career, but that one they score is fantastic. So, honorable mention, I think, has to be Mohamed Salah. A goal and an assist, finding a little bit of form, but again, like everybody said in here and in the chat, it's the smile on his face. It's the exuding of that confidence. And I think it comes from winning kind of that first one-on-one early in the game, of squaring his fullback up and beating him that first time, and then being like, I can do this again. And now it's the fullback that's doubting himself, as opposed to, it seems like Mo's been, not for lack of trying, but he's been doubting his own ability and just knocking the ball straight into defender's legs. So very good to see. Very well taken penalty, because heaven forbid, had he missed that, there would have been absolute fury over it. But needs to do better. I do not have any issues with piling on Federico Chiesa, even though he only has 5 league starts. He needs to know by now that his opportunities are going to be limited, and that if he performs well, he will get more opportunities, and he just doesn't perform well. He looks so busy out there because he has lovely bounce in his hair. He's got a nice wave in his hair. He uses good product. He has volume. So when he runs, his hair's bouncing all over, and he looks very busy. But if you actually watch what he's doing, he's not really doing much. He's doing a lot of blind alley ball chasing when we're pressing from the front. But other than that, it's got to be Brighton. I know this is the FA Cup, but really, I don't think they're at any risk of going down in the league this year. They should have been maybe focusing on this as an opportunity to pick up a big scalp on the road against Liverpool, get into the 5th round of the FA Cup, and maybe see if you can push on in that competition. And this Brighton team has been poor all season, and I think there's some questions to be asked there. I would say probably centered mostly around the dedication to the squad of Fabian Hertzler. I think he might be gone at the end of the season, looking for bigger and brighter pastures.
I think the white flag was waved with 10 minutes to go, and he went, I'm not even going to bring on me top goal scorer Welbeck. Fuck it.
It was a little weird that Welbeck didn't come on.
That was the white. You could tell the white. He was like, fuck this.
Yeah. Well, they do have bigger fish to fry, in the sense that, they don't want to get pulled into a relegation battle at all. They're down in 14th place. They were up at 5th back in December, so they really have been sliding down the table. Guys, I think that's where I'm going to wrap it for now, because we have to migrate, kind of like that seagull, over to our Patreon channel. So our Patreon clip is right over there. If you want to click that QR code, that will take you right over there. It's about the price of a coffee or 2 Kit Kats or whatever kind of small little investment that you want to use. Yes, see? Anything. But that's where we're going to go. We're going to talk about some of the refereeing decisions that happened earlier. We'll go into all of the quotes, everything. You're welcome to join us. No pressure whatsoever. We're trying to keep this show as original as possible in terms of keeping all of the original content that was always in our post-match show. So we don't want to take anything away from this. It's just sort of an extra little bit over on Patreon. So that's an option. I want to thank everyone in the chat for showing up. There's lots of people from different clubs, and I know that some people have different opinions, but thank you for coming in and supporting us. If you choose to, give us a like on your way out. But yeah, we're going to head on our way over there. Thank you so much, Matt, for joining us. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. Thank you so much, Kev, for joining us. And Kev, you have the controls. Yep. So if you could take us out of here, we're going to say goodnight for now, and we will see you over there. Talk to you later. Up the Reds. Bye. Bye.